Tonight on NXT, we have a pretty light show, not too many matches, but a lot is being set up. We've got a full panel here tonight, so stay with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of the AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for WWE NXT right here on the AFTERBUZZ TV network. I'm one of your hosts, the internet's Mark B. Donica, joined as always by the full squad. One, Mr. True Hobo.
That's me, tag team champion. Right here, branded on my forehead.
Your championship is right there.
Right, but I'm gonna get a tattoo.
That's good. That'll make it a little bit more long term.
Yeah.
Two, Mr. Bill Hanstock.
Hey, everybody.
And number three, a very special guest, Mr. Sean Waltman. Absolutely awesome to have you in the studio to talk about NXT.
Do you hear the crowd?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they're all there.
They're going crazy.
No matter where they are always here. How you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Really?
Come on.
That's good. I mean, that's great.
Well, we're fantastic that you're joining us.
Come on, you guys are too kind. Thanks you for letting me sit in with you.
No, and it was awesome to have you watching the show with us and everything. So why don't we just get into it? General thoughts about the show, Sean. Why don't we start with you?
No, man, don't start with me.
All right, fine.
I'm the cleanup hitter.
I say things are starting to pan out.
Yeah.
Like it's the show's shaking out, and you see pieces falling into place for long-term feuds and programs and matches being made that we're looking forward to seeing. So overall, I think it was a strong setup show.
Mm-hmm. Bill?
Yeah. To continue the prospecting analogy that Hobo began there, we're starting to have all the pieces fall in place for the storylines going forward, especially with that big finishing segment where we're getting all the different tag team parts moving around.
The tag team division is fountaining.
We're a little bit confused as to where the story is going with Alexa Bliss and Carmella, which started the show.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, just due to the finish and just the way it was like.
It was,
yeah, weren't you mentioning that it was just a real clear cut, clean finish for if they're going to continue like a storyline with those two.
Budding storyline that seemed like it had legs to continue. But why don't we just start talking about the match in general? It was the ultimate battle of like speed versus intelligence, but they both had their number throughout it, and it seemed like it was starting to be something big, but the audience just couldn't get into it. It was really weird.
Yeah, and you know, I really feel for the when I watch a match like that on TV, because I mean it's just like one of the worst things in the world when you're out there busting your ass and you're just not getting that instant gratification from the crowd, and it's, you know, it could be a situation where it's not anyone's fault other than, you know, 4 hours of TV tapings. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a bummer.
This show is almost like inverted. Like this match on paper felt like it was maybe like a main event type match that they set up, and then it ended with an angle. You know, it was sort of like, it seems like, you know, a beatdown. You know, that I mean, it makes sense to end the show, but it could have started the show, and you could have had Alexa and Carmella end it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a hotter start with all of the tag teams out there. You're making a huge match that's never been seen in NXT before. A tag team 2 out of 3 match, 2 out of 3 falls match for the titles. I agree with you.
And who are we to say that they didn't tape it that way?
Sure.
Yeah. It just feels like they threw that Carmella and Alexa Bliss story away. It felt like it was building to something, like it was getting somewhere, and then the finish being so definitive. Alexa Bliss getting the clean pin, absolutely clear-cut victory for Alexa Bliss, and Carmella sort of left in the dust.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I personally, you know, as far as like putting the tag thing on, did you say putting it on early and having
having this be like more of a main event?
Sure. And I don't know, it's just hard for me to speak on that because I haven't been following NXT on a weekly basis like you guys have. So I mean, I'm just sitting in right now, so that part I can't comment on.
Right.
That's fine.
What could have the ladies done differently to get a better reaction from the crowd? I mean, you said they were working really hard. What could they have done to get a better reaction?
Yeah, we were talking about that too while we were watching, and you know, I used I used an example of a tag match, 1, 2, 3 Kid, Razor Ramon versus Diesel HBK from a really tired crowd in Westchester Memorial in White Plains, New York. They saw wrestling, they saw TV tapings like almost as much as they see NXT in Full Sail Arena. Mm-hmm. And they were dead, and we went out there and we got them. But the thing is, I guess the main difference between that and this situation is there was a lot more emotional equity built up between the four of us than there is between those two. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still.
It wasn't pouring out of the match. You could see that there was some animosity between the two of them, but this wasn't something where you were like, these two are going to beat the living hell out of each other. They did.
And I don't think people care enough, like I said, that emotional equity to where you really feel like, their pain when they feel pain or, things like that.
When you're dealing with a crowd that's dead, do you think it's more important to play to the crowd directly more to pull them in, or to ramp up the intensity of the actual story that you're telling?
Well, your intensity should always be there. Like, I don't think, well, let me turn up the intensity. Like, well, you should have had it turned up in the first place, and maybe you wouldn't have to be worried about getting the people back.
Yeah.
So, man.
Do you think that the women here could have played to the crowd more?
You could always. There's things you can always do, and it's so easy for one of us to sit and pick it apart in hindsight.
Sure.
I do it to my own matches all the time.
Mm-hmm. And also having a match like this based around Alexa keeping Carmella on the ground with submissions and attacking the left arm. It made it slower. So once it started to ramp up, she kept cutting
But it didn't
Carmella
quite
off.
work because Carmella kept taking Alexa down.
Exactly.
So they were both taking each other down, which didn't add to the energy at all.
Exactly. What happens is you get in this tempo where it's just like playing ping pong. I'll do something to you, you do something to me. I'll do something to you, you do something to me. Mm-hmm. And man, that's just not really conducive for really getting the people hooked.
Yeah.
And also, I don't like to say but I ended up saying it anyways. Makes you sound really stupid. I just think that there was a lot of wrestling going on, and I love the wrestling part of it.
Yeah.
But there could have been other ways of working that match, considering the you got to take into consideration. Okay, the people are going to be tired. They've already seen this, and this before we're going out there. So you got to, I know they're maybe in their minds they're trying to tell a story for the TV audience, but you have to be mindful of that live crowd. I don't care what producers or anyone tells you, oh, don't worry about the crowd, you're working the millions of people at home. Yeah, well, the millions of people at home watching can tell when the crowd's sitting on their hands and don't care.
Or tweeting about how excited they are being at Full Sail.
Exactly. So you have to, in my opinion, and I think I've been fairly successful at this, you have to be mindful of the live crowd at all times.
Sure.
I
totally agree with you. Alexa Bliss wins with her choke slam variant. It's like a choke drop.
STO.
Yeah. Okay. The Glitz Flip and the newly redubbed Twisted Bliss for the win. We're always happy to see Alexa Bliss get a win. We're big fans of her here at the show.
Bet you she don't keep that finish long.
It's been working okay for her so far.
Yeah, it's working fine until she's
blows out her knees,
battered, beat up.
It's like have you seen Charlotte's moonsault, where she lands on her knees first, like almost any time she does it, just like huge impact. And it's like I can't believe she still does.
You're gonna want those knees later.
Maybe.
Well,
possibly.
Well, we got to ask though. We got Sean.
She's gonna want them too.
Oh, of course. Go, Bill. Go ahead.
We got Sean Waltman in the studio. We saw Bronco Buster in the match. Did you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't think people. I don't really necessarily think that they think of Alexa Bliss and Bronco Buster necessarily. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they knew what they were going to see.
Yeah.
And, she did it like Hakushi style.
Yeah,
that's where I took it from. Right? He used to do it to me, and then so I figured like a couple years later, nobody would know I stole it from him. And then I added the, all that stuff.
The theatrics.
Yeah, she should put that in there.
Am I wrong? When you initially started doing the Bronco Buster with the theatrics, that was a heel move, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it got
banned. Standards and practices. Turner Network Television said, "Oh no,
Not surprised.
You can't keep pumping these guys."
Right, lewd and lascivious.
We got to keep that PG, that 13 rating, that TV 13 rating,
or something.
We got a recap of how Finn and Shinsuke first met in the ring, made their match. We're going to be hearing from both of them tonight. We start with Nakamura. This was. It was uncut. It was just, hey, we want to talk about your friend Finn, and it was nice. It was cute, but this one got me a little bit more excited than the Finn one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because there was just Nakamura just has this natural charm about him.
He's just he's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether he's speaking English or Japanese. I will sit there and listen to Japanese without subtitles.
Yeah.
Yep.
And be thoroughly captivated. So here's the thing. All the buddy talk and, we're such good friends, man. Like you heard me over there commenting, like, why don't you guys just go take a shower together or something? Like, just...
We're close. We're really close.
Like, I get it, but man, like, we want to see a fight. Mm-hmm. I want to hear, like, hey, we're friends, but too bad. Like, we're leaving that here because, like, I'm going to kick your ass, or I'm gonna, I'm gonna embarrass you. I'm gonna hurt. I'm gonna do whatever.
I think that's where Nakamura is coming from more often than not, because he sees Finn as a stepping stone, so he's gonna step on him in order to get to that championship, and I don't think he's gonna feel bad about laying it in there because Finn's going out. Finn's on the way out.
That's true, and I mean, I don't think he's going to feel bad even if he was staying. Those guys like to throw live rounds, and neither one of them mind taking them, so that's going to be good.
Yeah.
I just worry about guys like thinking that they have to work like that every night.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you can't do it.
No.
I'm sorry, you just can't.
The good news is that Regal's there, and Regal's a big proponent of, like, don't do stupid stuff, because you can do way less stuff that's going to get just the same reaction or bigger.
Yeah, guys still go out and do it though, man.
That's true.
I just know, and you can admonish guys and fine them or do, like, it's still going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's great that they're that they're doing that though.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's
like
great.
with like I said it for when we were talking about Takeover Dallas, Nakamura Zayn was balls out, drag out, huge, like amazing, and I went, I don't think Nakamura can perform he shouldn't be able to perform on that level every week. I couldn't imagine him being contained to Full Sail.
Right.
Like, he's so huge. It's like, yeah, I'll just show up for takeovers. But
he's a big show guy.
Yep.
And I don't mean big show Paul White.
Yeah.
No, yeah, right.
He's a big show, big arena guy. Nakamura and Austin Aries should have been in a 10,000 seat arena. I don't, like a few, however many weeks ago that was.
It was 2-3 weeks ago,
And I just think overall, like, Nakamura's a big stage player. For sure.
Even you said when you were watching it, he even has to do the full entrance,
That's
coming
right.
out to interrupt a guy's promo.
Interrupt and he comes out and does the whole ball of wax. That's what I'm talking about.
But
the same energy.
It's a really positive sign. I feel it's so great to see him have this long, unedited promo, speaking just as himself. It's not subtitled or anything. They just let him talk. Like, because there's a lot, like I watch The Ultimate Fighter, and when someone's got a thick, like, Brazilian accent or something, they put up a subtitle. So many shows do that, it bothers me. But
or sometimes just like as a goof, like to make fun of how terrible the guy's English is.
He's speaking English, but you wouldn't know it.
Right.
Yeah.
But they gave him like 2 or 3 minutes to just talk and at his own pace and his own.
They didn't
cadence
cut any of it either.
No.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you
I'm
can
so
interrupt me
bad
all
about
you want.
interrupting, fellas.
As an editor, like, watching that, I would go, well, I would have cut there.
Right.
But then as a fan, I was like, but it was charming. It was great. Like, when he messed up, like, his phrasing, I would have, like, cut away to some B-roll and then cut back to him starting the phrase again. But it's like, no. That was all wonderful.
And it's so refreshing that, they're getting it. And I mean they as far as the people in the NXT truck.
Yeah.
The director, the producers,
Yeah.
Hunter, you know, they're you know, ahead of the curve enough, or at least right there with it, to know that, okay, this is what's really going to get the people to care about
This is what the
these
people
guys.
want to see.
Yeah, man. Those like 1980s and early 90s like style promos with the "Let me tell you something, brother,"
With their
I don't mean
logos
to, like,
behind
pick on
them.
Hulk, and I didn't mean it like
No,
that.
no,
But
no.
Sure.
let me the whole how many of them started off
Yeah.
with "Let me tell you something."
Everybody did it.
And it's just like,
Well, let me
man,
tell you something right now. Like Macho
no,
Man,
I want
everybody.
to hear these guys. I want to hear these guys in normal conversation mode.
And that's what
And-
we got.
Yeah,
100%.
and it was really good.
And Finn, despite being pretty quiet later in the night, was still pretty louder than he usually is, because he's usually a really quiet guy. We go from there to Kathy Kelly with Bayley. She's feeling better about her chances against Asuka, but Alexa wants into the title picture and challenges Bayley to essentially her spot. Like, you're going in for you're third in line for the women's championship. No, I'm getting closer.
She wants to jump ranks, and that's something I think should happen more often. Number one contendership should be something you can lose.
Sure.
I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like, to me, looking at, like, okay, Asuka, Bayley, and her, she just doesn't seem to fit yet. But you know what? Here's the thing. She has the opportunity to step up, and maybe they can help pull her up, too,
Right,
you know?
right. Working
She-
with somebody above you.
Yeah, exactly. It's the only way to get better.
And before the triple threat match that was a couple weeks ago, she was working with some people coming in, like she worked with Tessa Blanchard, but she had a chance to really show, despite her size, how strong and intelligent she got to show her style and what her new updated style as a heel is, and it's just been knocking it out of the park for me personally, and I'm happy that she's getting the opportunity. Speaking of an opportunity, Noah Kakoa had an opportunity to face Andrade Cien Almas in a very, very quick match. What did you gentlemen think of this one?
I didn't even realize it was Sombra. We were talking
right.
about that.
Who's that? He's good. I like him.
It was a quick match, and I really wish Noah had a better showing. Even as
Yeah.
short as it was, what he did just wasn't clean enough to
Yeah,
really stand out.
And it looked like he could. It looked like he could tell.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it looked like he was getting a little bit anxious out there in the way, you know, at
Just in his
certain
own
points.
head.
Yeah. You know, you kind of start to panic out there a little bit. You know, when you're doing something and it doesn't get the reaction that you want it to. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're newer.
Well, the highlight of the match for me was probably Noah grabbing the chokehold and yelling at him to give up. Yeah.
Yeah, give up.
Like, that was nice. It was nice.
It was
nice
better
little,
than just sitting there, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely,
Great.
yeah.
But I will never forget. I'll always call back to it. Still the best audible call on a chin lock like that was Heidenreich versus Booker T. It was a close-up on Heidenreich, and he said, "I don't like him," very loudly. And it's just one of my favorite, silliest things. I always go back to it.
You don't hear it very often.
No, I don't like him. Well, now we know where you stand. Thank you. Kakoa he tried to throw some heavy strikes, but he just couldn't get started before it was over.
And we need to get, how do you pronounce his name?
Andrade Almas?
Yeah, man. He needs to turn up the volume on the mean streak and the
Yeah.
intensity, man. Without the mask on, you got to.
He plays a lot to the crowd.
Yeah, a little bit much on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like after everything.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's his time to think of what his next thing to do is.
Could be.
They might be doing something like they did with Austin Aries, who showed up and is like, "Oh, finally, I'm here. Everybody loves me." But then it's like, "No, you know what you're here for."
That would be great.
And then he turned up the bad guy.
I really want to
Huge.
see Almas just work the other side of the coin, because I think he'd be so much better at it.
Agreed.
We don't have enough baby faces, though, for that. We are losing everybody
Yeah.
to becoming a heel.
You know, though, man, I think here's the thing that people are they're gonna like certain guys that are heels anyways, and I think you can still make matchups, and some guys will end up, you know, by proxy end up being baby faces, maybe, instead of like being overly concerned with, oh, we're a little heel heavy or we're a little baby face heavy, like so we got to turn somebody.
Especially in Full Sail Arena, like the only person who's really a heel is Elias Samson.
Well, yeah, all right.
He wasn't on the show. Let's not talk about him.
But he was in the opening credits with the lasers.
He was.
Fair play. Pew, 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 pew. It's the roar of the two. Speaking of Austin Aries, he's in the back with he's in the back with Andrea, and he's talking about blaming the fans. He's having these amazing performances in the ring, but they're just booing him. But here comes a guy like No Way Jose, who just gets chanting for dancing and shaking his hip. No, it's the fans' fault. They're going to be held responsible for everything that Austin Aries does in the future. God, this was awesome.
Hey, you know, everybody likes Elvis Presley, but Elvis never wrote any of his own material.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes, man. Sometimes
right.
the really talented guys don't connect with the fans.
I loved Elvis as a songwriter. Never hear that.
No.
You never hear it.
Yep.
Hey, listen, well, I'm a huge Elvis fan, by the way, but you are correct. It doesn't take anything away from him, though.
No, no.
All the best, like Rock, I'm just going to use two guys, Rock and Shawn Michaels, both patterned themselves after Elvis. Elvis was the original man. He was the guy that came up with the recipe on how to be the man. Anyways, to Austin Aries' promo. Phenomenal, excellent promo, and I'm not just saying that because he's from Minnesota. The best, as good as anybody in wrestling right now on the mic.
Agreed. And he's been that way for years, and I'm happy that more of a wide audience can get him now. And can see how great old Sparkle Butt has been. We haven't seen the Sparkle Butt in quite some time. And now we're getting, we have Finn Balor's interview that was backstage. It's pretty loud. But this one was a little bit less captivating because he was speaking very softly, but he was like, yeah, he's a real friend. I'm very excited for the match. I'm just getting goose pimples just thinking about it. Like, he's just very, very quiet, but it's like we can't get into that, you know, with Nakamura, with the quote unquote language barrier. We don't know what he's gonna say next. And with this, it was just like, I'm just ready.
Some people might argue that Balor has a bit of a language barrier himself.
He has an intensity barrier.
Thanks for laughing at that.
He just needs to bring it more.
It's like that, you know, it's like when he goes out there, though. It's when he goes through the curtain, it's like, you ever see Over the Top?
Yeah.
Remember when he turns
hat
the
around
hat? Yeah. Maybe he needs to turn that hat around while he's doing his promos.
Great Paul.
When that camera's on you, whether it's in the back or in front of the crowd, you need that energy. You need the friction. It's the friction that makes the matchup. And there's no friction between Nakamura and Balor.
I always did a better in-ring promo than I did in the back.
Really?
Way better because the people are there and you can feed off the energy and you're a little bit, especially right after a match.
Oh, yeah.
Then I forgot I was scared to talk. You know, because I was too busy blowing up.
Yeah.
Right.
Just need to get to that next word. I mean, everybody's excited about this match regardless. We got 2 weeks until Finn and Nakamura at the NXT arena. And we see that American Alpha has arrived at Full Sail. What they're going to do, we'll talk about it later. And also, it was made official. Bayley versus Alexa Bliss next week. Super excited about that. Haven't seen that contest in quite some time. I think several months, but since we've seen that last.
I was just thinking when we were talking about it earlier, like we haven't seen Bayley and Alexa mix it up that much compared to all the other permutations, and that's something I can really get behind.
I'm a huge Bayley fan.
Bayley's
humongous
amazing.
fan.
Everyone's huge.
Because she wasn't the chosen one. Nobody said, "Hey, this one right here, she's going to be the one," and she pretty much is. Like in my opinion, is right up there with anybody.
Like her and Sasha Banks at New York last
Those
year is
two.
just brilliant, and I can't wait. As much as we kind of need her right now to be the general down at NXT, I cannot wait for her to get up to the other shows, up to SmackDown and Raw, so we can see her tear it up with them again. But I totally agree with you. I'm constantly waiting for the next great thing that Bayley does because it happens so frequently. I expect it week to week.
That's real. That's not like, hey, let's come up with a gimmick for you, like, and hey, let's do like for instance, take these two big guys, let's give them a Road Warrior gimmick.
Yeah.
No, this isn't. This is an original. That's Bayley, kind of like Nakamura is Nakamura. You know, like it's so nice to see that they're not just taking like and putting a gimmick on somebody.
Yeah, it's and it kind of goes off of that old phrase, taking who you are and turning it up to 11, but it's a better way of doing that.
But not in the sense that, oh, so what did you do? Like, what did you do for a real job? Oh, I was in the back of a dump truck. Oh, the dumpster.
Right.
You know?
I mean,
not
I don't
like
think
that.
It's just too heavy. It's more natural.
Well,
the
like
other way.
a good example, like Alexa Bliss, when she first showed up, she was a cheerleader, so they gave her a cheerleader gimmick.
Exactly.
And then they realized, oh, she's just great at
That's
being
just pathetic.
a terrible person.
Old, just
It's old
broken
thinking.
way of thinking.
I don't know. I think we're due for a goon redo. Personally, somebody coming out in hockey pads and why not?
Chikara will have to do something like that.
The masked
For real,
masked
they would.
plumber.
That's right. What we didn't know was our main event of the week. Our main event of the week, the Hype Bros versus Gargano and Ciampa. Because the match, like, we were like, oh, this seems like it'll be a quick match. We got like 15, 20 minutes left. There's going to be another match after this. And then it kept going. But it was fun. It was
good.
It's the unexpectedly long ones that are like, oh, this is a good time. I hope this doesn't stop anytime soon. What did y'all think?
I thought it was actually pretty good in how the dynamic changed, and the Hype Bros are really on top of things. Ciampa and Gargano ended up like getting really hot at the end, so it was really interesting, just the sort of valley and peak it got along the way.
I concur.
You guys are really on point
I
today.
thought,
Really good at
well
that.
the first indication to me that something was a little bit different about this match was like midway through or early on, Gargano made the hot tag to Ciampa, and then it didn't really work. It like Ciampa didn't come in and clean house. It sort of
Wasn't a hot tag there.
Right.
But like the intent was there, I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
Right? No, it was, yes.
but instead of it being like, okay,
Maybe
now we're
the intent
going
was
home, it was, oh, this is just another part of the
we're
match.
going
right,
on.
Right, yes.
We're keeping it moving.
Do you guys remember what I said as soon as like the match was in the ring, and I was like, oh, I hope they don't use those guys as just enhancement guys
Yeah,
for
right.
Zach and Mojo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't.
And and so like the first thought is like, oh, these guys are going to do the job, right? And then they didn't. So
'Cause they're
that's always a
smaller
good thing.
guys.
Something, a little bit unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even the Revival has now I think 2 or 3 times referred to them as good hands,
Right.
which is just a fun
For
reference.
For those of you that aren't in wrestling, that's like, it's not real. It's like a backhanded compliment as you can get.
Right.
It's like
Guys,
you're good, but you're never gonna do.
Yeah.
You get pinned well. Yes, thank you.
And it was great because when
You get pinned towards the camera. That's good.
when the match started and you said that and you were like, oh, I hope this isn't just a. And they were all 4 standing in the ring, and you really saw like, you don't think of Zack Ryder as a huge guy, but when you see
good-sized guy.
a couple normal sized guys in Gargano and Ciampa,
A couple 200 pounders.
it looked like a disparity there. But now NXT is helping prove like you can't just take things for granted anymore.
And with the cruiserweight tournament coming up, it was plausible that Ciampa and Gargano could lose to set something up for the cruiserweight tournament. So I was almost expecting them
match
to
sort of a
lose so
thing.
that they had a little falling out and they'd be real hot going into that. But it didn't happen.
I just, that wouldn't be my first choice on how to build up something towards like a big tournament like that. Would be losing a match.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I would prefer not to, but
Yeah, sure.
that would be one way of like, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Is that a good?
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
That's a good one for it. They get their running double knee on either side for the win. Get out on the mic. They talk about how they beat we talked about it on the show. They beat Revival and we felt like they were in line for a title shot.
Now he is no mathematician.
No mathematician
he's
here.
not.
But American Alpha comes out and said, no. If you're going to get Batman, if you're going to get, thank you. If you're going to get your title shot, it's going to be against us because we're going against the Revival first. Revival's out. You boys are pretty cute, whatever, but we're the best tag team. You're the betas.
Top guys.
Yeah, they're the top
guy
guys.
stuff.
Here we're going to give you some real top guy stuff. But Regal comes out and makes a 2 out of 3 falls tag team title match next week between American Alpha and Revival. And I mean, Gargano and Ciampa came out looking all right. they won, but it was still like, well, I guess we have to wait.
Yeah.
I thought Gargano was really solid on the mic when he had his time with it.
Yeah.
So that was good. When Gable and Jordan came out, it was a little. I'm nitpicking here. Are we allowed to do that on the
Yes,
show?
I mean,
Absolutely.
please. That's what it's for.
All right.
We're wrestling
And it
fans.
was a little scripted sounding,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's not. That's kind of what happens when you're reading off the script. So, God,
If
I
Gable
really
and
encourage
Jordan,
guys
yeah,
not to.
if
Sorry.
Gable and Jordan have any weaknesses at all right now, they're a little bit, stilted on the mic, but their personality and their enthusiasm and just who they are as people comes through even through that.
just killing it in the ring. Just really, people are really gonna have an easy time overlooking, the mic skills not being as polished as.
yeah.
They also go back to the night they won the championships. They had a promo right after that was just so full of emotion that they could, anytime they talk about them, they could just show that and go, "Oh, cool! All right, we're in."
It was. Do you remember me mentioning that? I always did a better promo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the match,
Yeah.
like when you're all
You're
kinda
just
wound
hyped
up.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened with those guys. I think it's just
For sure.
you're really feeling it, man, and everything's coming out real.
And just when you get that title in your hands, and those guys really worked at it. Like you felt that they really put in the time and the effort. Real.
I was there, and I saw that, and it made me remember my first tag team title win with Marty Jannetty and somewhere in Virginia. But anyways, we were Quebecers.
Yeah.
And man, just that first title. Doesn't have to be WWE. Just first time you're holding a belt and you want it, in front of people, and it's just a really big deal, man. Huge. I was really happy for those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully they get a chance for redemption next week. But before the end of the show, American Alpha and Gargano and Ciampa, they exchange hands, they shake hands. Gargano and Ciampa leave. But the Authors of Pain come out and just kick everybody's ass, with Paul Ellering looking on pretty approvingly. We already kind of started talking about the Authors of Pain. Where do we think they're going to cost them a fall? Or what's their involvement going to be in the future? Are we going to see them versus Gargano and Ciampa next week?
No, I think Authors of Pain and American Alpha is still where this is going.
Who have they beat?
Nobody
on TV yet.
They beat everybody up, but they ain't never beat
Who
anybody.
They did beat some local talent when all four people
that's
did not
right.
have a name.
That's right. Nobody had a name.
That was So the night or the show after the last takeover was they fought against local talent and nobody had a name. Yeah.
So again,
the one with
I
the
ask
tattoos.
Who have they beaten?
We don't even know. We have no idea.
We can't tell you.
John Doe and Jim Doe.
Oh, the Doe
Oh, the
brothers.
Doe Boys.
Doe boys.
JoJo and Rocket Starbuck.
Yeah.
The
We need a Mulkey comeback is what we need.
Hell yeah.
Love those guys. I remember I wanted them to win the Crockett Cup so bad, and I think it was '88.
Flipping flashback. So it was a really light episode of NXT. Surprisingly, we only had 3 matches, but we had a lot of great backstage stuff. I mean, that's not necessarily our show. There really wasn't any too many big pieces of news, but since we have you here, Sean, why don't you tell the folks at home what you're up to, what you're doing in LA? We've had you in the studio for a little bit. I don't know how much you can talk about that, or if I'm going to get in trouble once the show's over.
Bro, don't hit these ambush questions, man. What's the matter with
These
you?
gotcha
bro?
questions.
I mean, it's none of that's on that paper right there.
No idea what you're talking about. What paper? To eat it.
The one that you guys gave me with every single thing that I was supposed to say.
You memorized it.
Okay.
It was wonderful.
I believe that. I'm pretty sure that I have a new podcast coming out.
Pretty
is that
sure?
what we're calling
Pretty
it? A
sure.
podcast?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's okay. Podcast is a good thing now.
Yeah,
Right?
podcast is
Okay.
good. It's like the new radio show.
Yeah.
So
And it's called X-Pac 12360. Yeah.
I really like the name.
Nice.
I really like the name.
Everybody likes it. Like, I didn't quite get it at first, but like, I didn't. I gotta be honest, I didn't come up with it. And so when it's not your idea, sometimes you're like,
Okay.
whatever. Kind of like in a match, when I have a match, like, my idea is always the best. My idea to finish everything.
Right.
Regardless of whether it is or not. But I know that if enough people like dig it and get it, I'm pretty sure that I'm just out of touch on this one. Seriously, I'm not just saying that.
no,
Like,
yeah.
I'm like, I think I'm smart enough to realize that like I don't always get everything, and I'll like defer to those people that do, and then I'll catch on real quick.
What type of a format is it? Like news, or you got?
We're gonna do a bit in the beginning, of topical stuff, and then it's gonna be an interview show.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Super
and
cool.
So that's easy for me. I don't have to have any structure,
That's fantastic.
and whatever structure I do have will be brought to me by Jimbo Slice.
Jimbo Slice. You can follow on Twitter at the Jimbo Slice.
Yeah.
A friend of the show, friend of the network, of course. He's on the Lucha Underground show and does so many great things here in Southern California.
Does all the great things that are going to have anything to do with my show. And I got to thank like Kevin Undergaro.
Yeah,
Dude,
Granddaddy.
he came to me at WrestleMania this past year, and he, pulled me aside and he told me like, what he saw in me, and what he believed I could do in this. And I've done podcast stuff before, but I never really had somebody behind me with these resources.
Yeah.
And really getting it done and not just talking about it.
Yeah.
And man, it's really cool.
Kevin's great
I'm
at that.
so happy.
Kevin is super honest about how he feels about people. He does yearly meetings with anybody at the network who wants one, and just he's one of the coolest people. He sees greatness in everybody, and that's part of the reason why we have an entire wrestling set of shows here is because of him. And he's like, we really should start.
You might see
talking
something
about that.
in you don't see in yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And bring it to your attention.
Yeah. He's
it's amazing quality to have.
Yeah.
And just everybody, like all of the people here are just, just so incredibly positive and everybody's creating.
That's what we try to. What we try to have here. And also, your check is in the mail for that last comment. It was absolutely fantastic. But
I've heard that one before.
if you haven't listened to the Tomorrow Show, and this isn't even a spot, we're not even doing a spot right now. But if you go to the Tomorrow Show, that's Kevin's show. He does it twice a week. He's got great guests on there.
I'll be on tomorrow.
And
Nice.
And Sean is on tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm the guest tomorrow on the Tomorrow Show. All right.
Wow, that's good synergy right there.
And completely unexpected, had no idea that was happening. My check's in the mail. So aside from the podcasting world, is there anything else you're doing in wrestling coming up?
I'm going to Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pro Wrestling Elite. I think it's in Glasgow. I'm going there with Billy Gunn. But I go all the time to UK and different places. Still, I'm still wrestling every weekend.
Well, we've got a bunch of fans out in the UK, so make sure to follow the Real X-Pac for those updates.
Going to
see
Chile
live.
coming up.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, Stockton Comic Con the same weekend as SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So if you're not-
Scotland,
so if-
Chile, Stockton,
The elite, the tour of the aisles, the cream of the crop.
So if you're not going to SummerSlam, but you will be in Northern California, who you got some of your buddies going to the Stockton Comic Con too, right?
Scott and Kev, the Wolfpack, Stockton Comic Con.
It'll be a
Wolfpack.
good time.
Yeah.
Absolute madness.
You gonna give us a scoop? You gonna be back at Trios this year?
I'm not sure. I
Okay.
talked to Mike. I talked to Quack about doing it. I'm just not sure if
Because I know
it'll be
like
available.
that was as far as for wrestling fans, your appearance at your first Trios was a big thing for getting people back into X-Pac.
It was a big thing for me too because I don't like shaving my beard, man.
Yeah.
And I wasn't about to give myself a mullet, so
Right.
I just had to pull it back in a ponytail.
Right.
But now the last couple of years I did commentary on a few matches, and I enjoy doing that a lot.
Cool.
I enjoy that. So I'm not sure. We'll see.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. How do you have any questions for good sir, Mr.
Well,
Sean?
you got your show coming up. Do you have any guests lined up? Who's your dream guest to have on your podcast?
Whoever the people's dream guest is.
I'll keep it in.
Because my Rolodex is pretty full of heavy hitters in the industry.
Yeah.
So I can
And as a
take my
studio,
pick.
we're mobile.
Plus-
follow you around.
True.
I want to know, since this is the NXT after show, who are your favorite people in NXT besides Gable and Jordan right now?
Well, obviously Nakamura and Balor.
So you do like Balor, because a lot of people
of course,
are
man.
not high on him at the moment.
What?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Not here. We're all very
totally.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't get. I'm not sure why. I mean, maybe I've just missed some stuff lately, but
I think people are just ready for him to go to the next
okay.
thing.
I think they just wanted you know what, you've done your
not
stuff
his
at
fault.
NXT.
Yeah, no,
Right,
not his fault at all.
exactly.
No.
Have you seen anybody or had an eye on somebody that you wish would show up in NXT?
Well, the one guy that I kept pushing for, and kept getting pushed back on, I don't know what the deal was, but was Aries.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm so happy because here's the thing. Regardless if anybody wanted him there or not, if they just let him come and they give him the ball, he's gonna just carry it just right into the end zone, and they're gonna be, what happened? You know?
No, I believe that. If he's not involved in WrestleMania in somehow this next year, I'll be like, what have you been doing with him? Because he can go straight up.
Even if he never just his mic skills as a manager for somebody when he's older, when he's done in the ring, just there's nobody better than him right now on the mic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but name one.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
search me, man.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman, is really the only person,
Yeah.
but
Maybe Enzo.
maybe.
Right. Well.
No,
Because
because
Enzo
listen,
can't
they
do what
the same
Aries
stuff.
does. Yeah.
They
Yeah,
say
it's
that,
different
and
stuff.
and it's okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's fine because that's what people dig now. The whole Pavlovian
right.
response thing, right? But Aries can just cut a promo on the drop of a dime about whatever because he believes in what he says. He believes he's that good. And if you don't believe in it, man, people can tell. They can look in your eyes, man, and they can just tell whether you believe that you're great or not.
The way that he does a promo makes me feel like I offended him in some way. Like tonight, he's like, "It's all going to be your fault." What did I do? I feel bad.
It's personal.
It was my
It's
fault.
always
He made it
personal.
personal with the audience, and it doesn't matter who he beats in the ring.
Yeah.
And that I think is kind of important with the connection thing that we were talking
Right.
about the whole
And
time.
that's the focus of his anger and his energy is at the audience. The wrestler who his opponent is just a surrogate for the anger he has for the audience, and the audience feels that. That's why they connect with his opponents.
I hope the No Way Jose thing isn't necessarily too sort of dragged out, but he gets a chance at the title or just a really good opportunity with whoever big is next down the pipeline. Supposedly Roderick Strong is talking to the company, rumored. Moose. If anybody from the CWC comes over.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Moose. I like him, man.
He's a great dude.
Yeah.
Great dude.
Great worker, great person.
Phenomenal.
And so, speaking of the Cruiserweight Classic, we're still determining how we're going to be covering that at the network, but we are going to cover it. The first taping has already happened. If you missed it, there was on the Cruiserweight Classic page on Facebook, they did a live stream where they showed all of the competitors and what country they were representing, which is a cool way. If you're unfamiliar with any of them, you get a little bit of their personality, and it was just a fun 20 minutes of Morrow and Daniel going back and forth.
How's Brian on the color?
He's just so far he's just really excited to be there, but he's good. He's there, he's attentive, and because he knows a lot of the guys there, it adds a lot of extra depth to it.
Good.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show that's going to be happening within the next couple of weeks, and so is our after show. I believe that's time for us, unless there's anything else that you wanted to talk to the wonderful folks at home about. While you have the platform.
No.
No?
Again, man, with these ambush situations here, man. You'd think that I was supposed to be good at talking.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you want a cup of water? You stop it right now!
Damn you! That's a trick question, damn it!
We're all about trick questions here on the NXT After Show, right here on AfterBuzz TV. So
This is a great show. You guys do a fantastic
you.
job.
we're wonderful to have you.
guys are great.
If your record dates line up with ours, we'd love to have you back on because it was great just to because it was great just to watch the show.
I was
with you.
asking, hey, what wrestling shows can I drop in on today while I'm here?
Excellent.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
I was so glad that it was ours.
Beyond. So, thank you for joining us. If the folks want to keep an eye on your current projects, if they want a reveal for the release date of Xbox One, 2, 360, where can they find you? What are your social medias and stuff like that?
I'm just doing Twitter at the moment at the real X-Pac. I'll get more up to date with that social media deal.
Right now, that's the most important one because you can link to everything.
For me, it is. It's the simplest and social media, man. I have a love-hate deal with that.
That's one of the things you get Jimbo for.
Yes.
I think I made it through the whole thing without cursing.
You did.
You did. It was great.
Yeah.
Good job.
Small.
Bill, what do you got going on?
You can follow me on Twitter at Sundown Motel. You can check out uprocks.com, uprocks.com/sports, and withspandex.com for anything that you need in the world of wrestling or sports.
Wow.
Mr. Hobo.
You can find me at True Hobo on Twitter. ProWrestlingTees.com/hobos where you can get the shirts. Coastline Clash. Sorry. Wow.
Red Carpet Rumble.
Red Carpet Rumble is coming up, and you did that 2 years ago,
Yeah,
Sean.
man.
It was great seeing you then, and maybe we'll see you again come July 10th.
Oh,
You never know.
I don't know.
You don't know who's
I
showing up.
really enjoyed that though, doing that. That was great.
But it's
There's a
our
lot of
biggest
good
show of
guys
the
there.
year. Biggest show of the year, July 10th. I'll be defending the tag team championship with my partner, and
Fatal four-way?
So you have a belt, you have
Yeah.
a Twitter, and all of this, but you don't have a home.
I'm like a media mogul. You know what it costs to live in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I do.
Then you know
I do,
why.
man.
You get it.
Yeah.
He just goes gym to gym.
I was actually
YMCA.
homeless in LA for a minute. Crazy enough.
It falls out that quick.
Yeah.
It costs so much to
Yeah,
get
I'm
back.
I'm sleeping in the car and somebody knocks on the window. Hey, can I have your autograph? It's kind of crazy.
I wish I could get that autograph thing more.
Maybe people was like, hey, you want a couch?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure.
Normally it's just you can't sleep here, huh?
Right, yeah. Hey, move along, pal.
It's the people who ask for your autograph that is a surprise.
Yes.
So make sure if you're in the LA area, go to the Red Carpet Rumble. That is July 10th. Also, Fight TV. You can watch Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I'm here all the time because it's where I work. So follow me on Twitter at MarpyDonica. I'm going to be in Austin this weekend for the Rooster Teeth Expo. It's video games, internet media, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of fun. That's why I'm wearing this silly regalia.
You mean that's not what you normally wear?
No, this is not what I normally wear. Hobo. I don't wear padded vests in
vest is
100-degree
sweet.
weather.
Mark,
Thank you.
Mark. Don't get bit by any roosters this weekend.
I will try not to. They have very sharp teeth.
Roosters got teeth.
They got teeth. And yes, we got awesome stuff happening here at AfterBuzz TV. So make sure to follow all of us here at AfterBuzz TV. Leave us a comment on iTunes. Leave us a comment on YouTube. But until then, buy our shirts at nxtteamnutspercher.com. Also, follow all of us here at AfterBuzz TV. We will see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.